Hi Houston, Belinda Schmidt with Compass Real Estate. I'm here to give you some tidbits about the impact of COVID on our Houston real estate market. Not a full analysis here, but some tidbits that should be insightful. My agenda is 2 items. One is March is over, so what did the March data tell us? And then secondly, what's happening in the Bel Air 77401 market, which is my neighborhood and where I live. So, what did the March data tell us, and how does it help us understand COVID? It doesn't. It doesn't help us answer that question, right? It was just way too soon. It did tell us that one of the big takeaways from the data is that we had a super strong real estate market. We were heading toward a banner year as compared to 2019, which in and of itself was a banner year. So the headline is, we're going into this crisis with a super strong foundation, much better than it was in the 2008 financial crisis. Okay, so what we did learn in March for solds, the number of closings and how that was going in March, was we had a 8% increase over 2019. And as I said, it was already a banner year, so that was very good signs. In the early days of April, we had a 4% decrease, which is pretty stable, but that's not so surprising since that's a bit of a lag with the 30-day close. So pretty stable there. Where the impact did show up so far in the early April data is in the pendings and the new listings. The pendings dropped almost 40%, and the new listings dropped almost 30%. So a definite impact in changing the real estate market in those numbers. Another item that we look at is the number of appointments that were booked for seeing homes, and that had a whopping 50% decrease, or thereabouts, close to it. But that's a bit misleading because, as you know from my last update, the way we've been showing homes has changed drastically. It's no longer the booked appointments. We're doing virtual open houses. As you know, in this format, I did a Facebook Live open house. I did an Instagram Live open house. So we're getting innovative and creative on ways to show houses to buyers. So I think that number is a little bit misleading. So the other thing that I wanted to let you know is I attended one of Dr. Ted Jones' seminars. He is the chief economist with Stewart Title, and he gives an economic forecast, and often in his conversations he refers to Goldman Sachs forecast on our GDP growth. And he did that again this week, and it was very interesting to learn what they had to say. They have like a team of 20 economists studying this, he said, something around that number. But they project that the numbers will show a 6% drop in GDP growth in quarter 1, a 34% drop in quarter 2, and start showing recovery in quarter 3 with a 19% increase, and all of that leading to an annual 2020 impact of a drop in GDP growth of only 6%. I think it was 6.3%. So compared to what we're experiencing now, that seems to be a very favorable forecast, doesn't it? So they're anticipating quick recovery, which is very heartening. I do have to note that the last time I got those updates from, as reported by Dr. Jones, was they did have a downward adjustment from a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, Goldman Sachs was saying that 2020 number would only be like a 3.8 decrease in GDP growth, and now they're saying 6.2. So we'll just stay tuned and see how that number, how those forecasts continue. Okay, now my second item to talk about is Bel Air 77401. In terms of the number of sold transactions, this in the last 8 days, we had one transaction that went to the closing table, and we had 4 new listings that went active in the last 8 days. And what's super interesting is 2 of those 4 went pending in the same week. So that tells me that if you price your house right, and if it's in good condition, in this market, we have buyers buying. So that's very promising. So looking in the pending category, we did have 4 transactions go option pending, 2 of which I just told you about that happened in the same week that it went active. And then there's one other home that is in a pending status still, and they're projected to close in May. So that's a quick update for Bel Air market and a little bit about what we learned from March data and the early days of April. Stay tuned, and again, let me know if you want my monthly newsletter so I can give you these charts and graphs. You can email me at belinda.schmidt@compass.com. Thanks.